Samsung.
Oh
My
God.
goodness. It went from this to meow.
Yeah.
90% profit drop between quarter 1 22 and 23.
How does this happen? You explain to me. Explain to me how this happens.
So apparently they went from a profit of $10.7 billion down to $478.55 million in Q1 2023. This was 2022 for Q1 before with 10.7. What? Hello?
How did this happen?
So
it wasn't even this bad when their phones were exploding.
So for everybody, Samsung, if you didn't know, makes other things besides just the phones. They make components for phones.
They do.
They make screens and other things. If you didn't know, after 2020, there was a chip shortage that destroyed the supply chain. You would know.
Yeah.
For different reasons. But the supply chain was destroyed. Nobody could get anything. Even to fairly recently, like car manufacturers, other places couldn't get enough chips to satisfy their needs to build the products they needed.
This is why cars were so expensive and used car prices were really high. But continue.
And the fact that like it took so long for you to get your order if you did order a car. So to do this, Samsung ended up going and saving up memory. So one of the things that like Samsung has is their SSDs or like their chips, memory chips specifically.
Yeah.
Their memory division in 2022, the most profitable of all the divisions.
Really?
More than screens, more than phones.
Yeah.
Everything else be gone. 55% of their earnings in 2022 was from their memory.
That's a lot. That's not diversified. That is not diversified. But I mean, a lot of businesses here aren't diversified because, like, you know.
I feel like if it's like if a business person saw that, and it's like if it's working, it's working. Yeah. Give them what they want.
That is true. That is 100% true.
So
business majors, finance majors,
finance, yeah. But like, as someone who does like forecasting, like. Every indicator on their sheet would have told them that this is the right thing to do. And then it didn't turn out the right thing to do. I want your opinion on like in hindsight, yeah, like obviously they would eventually fix itself because the other people seem to pull back.
Yeah.
But like, where do you see it? Like, how do you think they failed, or how do you think they did good?
So I want to say that, forecasting is essentially, especially in stuff like this, is essentially peering back and like looking into the future. It's essentially, I always see it as fortune telling. I always think about it as fortune telling, not fortune telling, but it's like seeing into the future. And in this sense, that you're saying that their most profitable department has declined
by a lot.
And it's not because of their memory shortage. It's because they overproduced.
Yeah, there's less demand.
Yes. So there's this. I've mentioned this before, and it's not called this, but I like to call it because it's in The Big Short. It's the hot hand fallacy, and essentially, it's the thought that what's gonna continue, what's happening now is gonna continue on in the future. That's not always the right case, and I've brought this up before with AI. By the way, because like you mentioned, it's like any indicator that was happening would say that this is the right move. Essentially planning out to build the inventory up because demand is going to go up, or because you're essentially matching up inventory to meet demand. But if there's a sharp decline, then that's where it begs to question, why did that happen? What is happening here? Because like, let's say an AI had done this before, If you have an AI telling you that you're gonna need more to meet demand, but then it sharply declines, it doesn't. Essentially, what the AI is gonna do is gonna say, "Don't buy any more of it. Just sell down." Essentially, what is gonna be happening now. But
Yeah, that's true.
the thing is that I feel like general thought, like my thought process on this,
Mhm.
is that you should be keeping at least, if you're going to be producing that much, you shouldn't be producing that much. You should at least keep like 6 weeks of stock, and it's coming out of an erratic time, so you shouldn't be benchmarking that to your future sales. I think what happens though is that a lot of companies go through and try
Mhm.
to chase the sales and then have rapid declines, and then you're left with a lot of liability.
Mm.
Especially in this case where the company was producing these items and now they're stuck with it. Essentially,
Yeah.
though, that they're going to be trying to sell down on these goods to make their money back.
Yeah, they're taking a huge loss because they're like just like you said, they're selling down to like get rid of stock.
The thing is though that they could it's not black and white. They have other options of things that they could do with all of these products. They could do a bunch of other stuff. They could even liquidate them and write it off, but it's a lot of write off. And at the same time though, like, it's hard to say, because I think that, like, if you were put in the same position and you see that your company is growing 55% or something like that, you would
Yeah.
assume that it's going to continue. But at the same time, it's not. It's an abnormality, because
I feel
you're
it's like
assuming.
unreasonable.
Yes, you're assuming that things aren't going to go back to normal, which is
Yeah.
not the case.
Which is, I mean, like you're benchmarking off of what you know, like the previous 2020, 2021, 2022, all very different oddball years, but I think at this point your models are all really skewed in one way or the other. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't reflect the current demand. So like if you are looking at it and like oh, you know, like because demand could have increased,
Yeah.
but it didn't increase as much as like this crazy time period has made it seem it increased. So like you would have to like weirdly project like a more linear path from like 2019,
Yeah.
end of 2020 or beginning of 2020 to now, and like kind of project that way. But like
You
the landscape has definitely changed.
Yeah. So what a lot of companies do is they benchmark off 2019, a more
Mm,
stable year.
yeah.
2020, they scrap a large
Really?
part of it because
Mm,
it's an abnormal year.
yeah.
2021 too. 2022 is a good growth. It's good to look at comparing it to
Mm,
2019, but at the same
yeah.
time, there's still a bunch of supply chains didn't really get fixed until the end of
Mm.
2022, which
Are
makes
you
sense.
are
Which
you using 2019 as like a benchmark
Yeah,
or
yeah, 2019 as a benchmark, which
okay?
because it's the last normal year that
Hmm.
had regular sales with limited supply
Yeah,
chain issues.
like
Um,
the more optimal setup.
I know that I'm going like really niche into this, but
Oh no, that's good though.
it's something that I actually really like supply chain and forecasting, and I really like the whole aspect of this, and essentially looking into the future. One of the things I do
Yeah,
have to
trends.
say, yes, and looking at the trends of everything, one of the things that I do have to say is that I feel like this could be taken in any aspect of it isn't only in supply chain. This could happen anywhere, where it's like you think something's going to continue, but it changes rapidly and things could
Yeah,
decrease, like depreciate. I would even say
crypto, stock market,
layoffs.
relationships.
Yeah, it's literally anything. Anything could happen and anything could change at any
It's
given
true.
time. So it's very important to see the trends and recognize when there's an abnormality in something happening, like GameStop. First off,
Whoa.
Or yeah,
We can still, people can still make money
or
off them.
Dogecoin.
Whoa.
So there's a lot to unpack here, and I think that it's like a lot of companies. If I am not the best forecaster, but they probably do not have good forecasters.
Whoa, that's a pretty bold.
I will say, because I would like, at this point they've lost so much money.
95.
What are you gonna say?
95%.
There's not one person in that
Oh,
room that called it
man.
out. Maybe there was, but maybe they didn't have the confidence to say it. That something was wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of money.
I think that like that ties into like other things where like you, like, if everybody's saying yes and then you are the sole person who says no, like imagine the social pressure like to say like to join the group, like you're like, imagine you're like saying no, like everybody think like, oh, this guy's, you don't support the company if you don't say yes. You know what I mean? Like every indicator was saying yes, and if you go into a meeting with your super or your boss and say that our 55% of total like income for the company is not gonna like match at least.
You know, they get hired to say the truth. I will say that.
That's how they get hired to say the truth.
Yeah. If they're not saying the truth, then something's wrong.
They are hired to get things done.
Oh my God.
They see a profit and they're like this more. And then that's their job to figure it out.
So it's crazy because the thing is with the slowing demand and pressures to keep profits up. Now
it's tough.
It's good to it's easy to ride the calm waters, but it's like when you have to go through the rough storms, that's when you really find out who's
telling the truth.
Yes, who's telling the truth.
I also wonder if they, and when I say they, I mean tech is using layoffs as a way to offset the decline in profits to continue to like have like upward trend, but or to like reduce the amount of hit they take on their their bottom line.
Yeah. I think they are. I think they're using it as a way to cut costs.
Yeah, because like manpower or human ability or resources is like immensely expensive because everybody has a 401k and their own like healthcare and stuff that like is all supplemented by the company in some way. So like even though people like, oh, like they have a salary of like X amount of money, but that X amount of money is like multiplied over all the different resources that person takes.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn.
This is so crazy thinking about it because we just talked about AI like a few episodes ago. And like I brought up this issue. Like I brought up like the trend. If a trend changes, it's like how is AI going to take account for it?
You're calling this poor forecasting supply chain intern that
the intern
the intern was like
the intern has so much money.
The intern was predicting $10 billion worth of
God.
half, so it's like $6 billion worth.
Was it $6 billion? That's a
lot
of money.
I mean, like if it's 10 point something, 10.7, and then like half of that is like 5.35.
Yeah. Okay.
55%.
Yeah. Okay. That's a lot of money. I would not trust an intern with that much money.
I would.
You would? This is how mistakes are made.
He's got it.
But yeah.
All right. I think we've talked enough about Samsung and how they really fumbled the bag on this one.
They did 100% fumble the bag. It's like, do you know like when in football when they catch the football and the guy fumbles it for like a good minute and he drops it? That's exactly what happened. That's legitimately what happened.
No.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We're officially done with my topics, almost, pretty much.